Dealing with hate in rock and roll. There seems to be a lot of that, especially when it's sparse pickings these days with a lot of rock and roll bands that don't have original members, or as I mentioned in the earlier video, only have one original member, in this case, Gary Peterson. Derek Sharp has been their lead singer for quite a few years. He understands it all, but he really enjoys singing with the Guess Who. They have a new album that's out that doesn't sound like the old Guess Who, and I think in their part it's probably a good move, or to not retrace old ground and to have a new Guess Who because it's new members. We talked to Derek Sharp lead singer, Gary Peterson, the original drummer of the Guess Who.
We don't have to go down this rabbit hole, but I'll just put it this way. There's Facebook reality, and then there's reality. And what happened with Miles, I know Miles quite well, and I know Marty, who wrote his book, and he's Miles, a talented guy, a great guy. He's got this great legacy behind him. But what happens when you get on this social media and you're this whole new reality gets created by people that half of them don't even come to your concerts, in my experience.
That's true.
It's like sometimes we'll get, like a lot of people get it worse than us, believe me, but a lot of time we get a comment about, how come this guy isn't here, whatever. It's never the same as what happens when we play a show. We play a show, they almost all sell out. We have people singing all the new songs and they follow along. They're fans of the band. They don't sit on Facebook all day and write about it. They're going to shows. So I think that's what happened with maybe Miles, that influenced it is like you have this Facebook reality versus reality. And in his case, which is happening to a lot of people now, you're just getting older and it's just harder and harder to tour, which I can sympathize with, because it is hard. Gary's going to be 78 in another month. Right. And he's got to get up, get on a plane, get in the car, you go here, we got to go to sound check. We got to,
And after I leave this Zoom call, I'm right over next to there, and I'm going to play my drums and practice.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's awesome. But I think you raise a good point with the, but from the Guess Who standpoint, I've been in this band 15 years. Which isn't as long as Gary, it's about a quarter as long as Gary. But the point is we've been on this trajectory for longer than the last month. We've been talking about this. We wrote like some of the songs we were talking about. Gary and I were talking about 15 years ago. It's just trying to figure out how to make it work.
The single, The King, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. Queenish. I like that. I like the layered vocals. Love the piano. Tell me about that tune.
Well, you forgot 10cc.
Yes, 10cc.
Like I know, mind you, a lot of people compared it to Jellyfish. I always say, for number one, I'm older than those guys, and number two, they were doing the same thing when they came out. So it's clear that we all like that kind of music. The King was an ambitious endeavor. And it was like, and then, I remember debating this with Gary and Michael, should we do a song like this? Isn't that weird to have the Guess Who play a song like that? We're like, but here we are. You talk about, your journey as a musician in life, trying to get better all the time. And you have to do the same thing with a band, which is why we try to keep our unit together, because a band is just one collective. And to do challenging music like that, and it was a challenge, especially vocally. It was like, we got to do this because this is us now. This isn't us 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. That was then, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just what are we about? So we started out with a bang, and the King. We just found out yesterday that somebody's already covered it. I have a video. Somebody sent me a YouTube video. A guy covered it. And they did a pretty good job. I was like, wow.
It's ambitious. It really is. It's big. Both of those songs are like, the new single. I wrote down here when I first heard it. I always write down because I used to be a rock critic. 60s, folky, proggy, rocky. Because it's got elements of all those things to me.
It's actually a journey through music.
Well,
It's like
that's a good point, Gary, because if you think of it, all the best music that you like takes time, right? If you write songs that are full of ear candy that you like right away, chances are you'll probably get sick of it. Great music, if you look back at your own journey with music, you want to listen to things that every time you listen to it, you discover something new. You know what
in
I mean?
in symphonic music, they have movements, and those two songs have different movements. They go from a folk feel to, Lord of the Rings, through a kind of almost bluegrass at some point, and then there's a Zeppelin kind of like feel. So that's like a mini symphony in a way, and that's what music is. It takes you on different journeys, and it's great to play that. I would sitting on stage playing the King, thinking, I didn't ever think I'd play anything like this on stage in my life, right? So it's wonderful.
Derek Sharp might not be the original lead singer, but man, that guy can sing. And he's the current singer and has been for quite a few years of the Guess Who, and that was, of course, Gary Peterson. As mentioned earlier, long gone are Randy Bachman on guitar and lead vocalist Burton Cummings. A lot of folks have problems with the Guess Who still going on, but a lot of fans still want to go see them. We'll have more from Derek and Gary Peterson coming up the next 2-3 days. Make sure you comment on our videos, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. Make a donation if you want. You can join our Patreon, get early access to our videos. This is John Beaudin. This is Rock History Music. Take care of yourself.